Very well. Now, this week has been World STEM Week. STEM is an acronym that stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But unfortunately, ladies or women in the country and, of course, worldwide have a bit shied off, and many ladies are not so much attracted to these subjects and career paths. So how do we help more ladies develop interest in these career paths? We spoke to a few young ladies who do artificial intelligence training in Kibera, Nairobi, and this is what they had to say about this. Take a look.
I loved it with passion. I had passionate in doing computer studies, the way I click the mouse, keyboard, such stuff. Yeah, we didn't have a chance to do it, but we had a link. We applied, which it has helped us.
Personally, I'd say it's passion. I love computer. I love technology. So it is something that I loved doing since I was in high school, and while choosing my career, I thought doing IT is something that was simple for me. I planned to be an IT expert, yeah, and technology-wise, I'd like to grow more. Most ladies, they don't have the experience, they don't have the materials to help them grow technology-wise. Like computers, you'd find like someone has the passion, but to access those materials is what is acting as a hindrance for them to grow.
I chose that.
Very well. Now, joining me now in this studio discussion is Martha Cheriot, an engineer at Kenya Power, and who is equally serving as the Deputy CEO at the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. Martha, good to see you in studio today.
Good to see you, Brian. How are you?
I'm keeping well. So,
yes.
Talk to us about your career. I mean, we want to keep it very easy but understandable. Talk to us about your career. When did you start? How did you fall in love with engineering? And how can we make it more attractive for more ladies like you to take it up?
So the advantage of engineering, the first thing is all about, it's about design or thinking through problems and coming up with solutions.
Okay.
So since that is what I love doing, that's the passion that I have with regard to just giving a solution to any problem and analyzing. That is what drove me to engineering. And it stems back all the way to being a child, because one of the things that hinders women into getting to this space is the socialization. What are you taught all the way from home? Are you told in advance that these are male courses and these are female courses? But I was advantaged, or I was privileged to be told we can do the same thing. Both men and female are the same, because when we were all created by God, He did not say that this is for you or this is for female. No, He gave us equal ability with, from the mental discussions and all the way to what you can do. So that is how my socialization came in. And then in high school, same thing. I really loved sciences, and even my physics teacher was one person who would give us solutions to very simple things. And he'd tell us he has removed or designed an activity or something to solve just a problem in the house. Like one of the things he would do is that he would not go to the door to open. Someone would ring a bell, and he would just press a button and the door would open. So when you look at it from that perspective, you're like, yeah, this actually makes sense. I would wish to do the same thing. And that is what propelled me now to get into mechanical engineering. I initially had the interest of doing planes, so aeronautics was in my mind.
Okay.
And fortunately, within mechanical, it's a very broad perspective. You can be taught anything, and that's where I fell in love with energy. And energy, because that's, I call it, it's the enabler to everything. None of us can do without energy. So I got into the space of energy. I went out the country. I was advantaged to get an opportunity in a very fast world. I was in Germany for a while, and I admired what they're doing. In terms of energy, them using wind, so renewable energy was already being used, and that is way before even 2010. So that's what drove me and thought, okay, clearly when I come back to Kenya, that's where I want to be. And I got into the energy management space. So with women, and something that I learned from our class, we were 4 ladies out of with that 28 men.
No way.
Yes. There are classes that had 1 female within the engineering space.
Wow.
But something that we learned was peer mentoring. We all had to come together and agree that this is what we want. Our lecturers were very good in terms of encouraging us to continue, and that drove our interest and my interest in the engineering space. The other thing that also really helped was having mentors beyond class. So you look up to people. I had people in my family, I had people within the cycle of my network, and they would encourage and tell me, please go for it, do not shy off. Some of us could feel engineering is tough. You're supposed to put on an overall. You're supposed to go under, say, the vehicles. You're supposed to, say, tighten some cables and do that connection. And you see, all this is hand-based. But what is the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal is that you have electricity. You have cars moving. You have machines moving and the processes, so products are there. And maybe it's something that I can also mention, Brian. The engineering has, it's a very good course because it looks at inputs and outputs. And in every process or in every industry, that is the whole thing. What is the input to a business? How do you want your business to look like? You have your ingredients, then the process is like you're in the kitchen, you have to cook it up and do all based on the recipe, and then you have the product. So as an engineer, you can get into any space. You can get into tourism, into now the service industry, you can get into manufacturing, you can get into banking.
True.
Because everything is just about input and output. That is what really helped. And then having a coach. Through my career, having a coach has been very instrumental because a coach enables you to achieve your maximum potential and makes you see opportunities that you yourself, you can be thinking, no, I'm not qualified in this, but they tell you, let's discuss, and they ask you questions, so they probe you and you're the one to give solutions. They don't give you the solutions, so the solutions are your own, and that is how you drive yourself and even within the economy. And to bring in, again, in terms of because just looking at the news that was there ahead, the growth of the country, GDP, matters to do with a Big Four agenda. STEM is critical.
Definitely.
Yes, and SDGs, if you were to achieve the SDG goals, then it is important for us to have both men and women participate in STEM because there is about matters to do with poverty. The most affected are women. For you to remove poverty or to eradicate poverty, which ties into the food security and the Big Four agenda, you're looking at what technologies can you apply in agriculture. That is around STEM. So you need women to participate in them for you to achieve food security and alleviate poverty together with zero hunger. That's an SDG goal.
Definitely.
Yes. The other one is looking at the terms of gender equality. You cannot talk about gender quality or parity without having both men and women. So you cannot look at one side, and that is the encouragement we want. Could we have both? The both engines driving the economy. Let's look at housing. Housing is the same thing. For you to build houses, you need people to design, you need architects, you need people to construct. That's still related to STEM. So can we have women in that space? Manufacturing is one other space. When you look at manufacturing creates jobs. And it is an opportunity that can create over 1.2 million. So where are the women in this space? So that's where the skills gap come in. Could we have women trained in that? More women in that space. So those are the things that I feel women have an advantage. They have the space there. Get people out. Even industries. Could we have programs that allow women or policies that retain women, encourage them to grow, but at the same time having programs for the men so that these two engines of economic growth go together. So that is one way of doing that. And then the societal realities. How do we socialize girls from at home? So could we have parents talking to our children right from the beginning that we can do this together?
Yes. Great. Amazing. You can do it. That is what Martha Cheruiyot says right here. Many thanks for Martha Cheruiyot, the Deputy CEO of KEPSA and of course an engineer at Kenya Power. She says she breathes and drinks and lives energy and of course science and solutions. And so you too, the young lady, you can also do it. Many thanks for your company as we brought you this and so much more for the whole week, the week that was. Join us next week. Of course, we'll be here with Brenda, 9:30 a.m. East African time. But of course, there's an interesting discussion coming up at 3 p.m. Abby Agina and the BizChat Weekly team will be discussing the digital currency that has been floated by CBK. This and so much more only here on KTN News, the only name in business. I'm Brian Jodotino, leaving you for now. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.